What's up, everybody? I'm back once again with another FM Soapbox video here, this time focusing on Funko Pop trading etiquette. So for starters, you see the term here, NFS and NFT, which stands for not for sale, not for trade. I see this a lot, especially within Facebook groups, and it's a shame that people have to constantly use terms like these, because people will share figures that they just found out in the wild, or maybe they ordered some figures and they ended up with the chase in their order, or maybe they even got a grail. And, they have to basically let it be known to people, I'm not selling this, I'm not trading this, because if they don't do that, people will make offers. And even if they do that, people still try to make offers. And, being a YouTuber, this is something that has happened with me a lot, even though, and I said it previously, I was very apprehensive about doing a full Funko Pop collection video, because I just knew that there were going to be some people that looked at it like it was a commercial, and that's not what it was. It was showing the figures that I have in my collection, that are a part of my collection, that I appreciate, but again, I got trade offers. I did this other video very recently, Pop Grails and Personal Goals, where I talked about the grails that I actually have in my collection, and then some other ones I wanted to add to my collection, and I made it very clear, that these were grails. I still got trade offers, and I'm not trying to, put down people necessarily, but at the same time, I just don't understand the logic behind asking somebody to trade away a grail. I mean, I made sure that I put the definition of a grail right there in the video. So yeah, for people to ask me if I'm going to trade a grail, I just didn't really understand that. And I think in general, if a person doesn't make it known that they have a figure up for trade, I do think it is kind of rude to ask for that person to trade it. So, just wait and let people say what is up for trade. I think that's just respectful, when it comes down to it. So some general trading etiquette and tips. These are some random things here that I think, apply to just trades in general. So starting off here, I do think that trades should be about exchanging figures that are as close as possible in value. Now, obviously, it's difficult to match it up dollar for dollar, so that may not happen, but it should be at least somewhat close. But unfortunately, you do have people sometimes that try to lowball somebody, which I've even had people try to do that to me, which is kind of funny to me. I mean, because I do Funko news, I very much stay up on what's going on with Funko, and I do check Pop Price Guide on the regular, and now also I check the Popspedia app, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with those, please get familiar with those as a collector, so you are familiar with the value of figures. And I know that they're not the perfect value of the figures. A lot of people will complain sometimes about Pop Price Guide, but at least it gives you a ballpark idea of what a figure is worth. Yeah, I'm informed. I think other people should be informed, and I really don't like people trying to lowball people on trades and take advantage of them, because what that does eventually is, that's one of the things that kind of drives people away from collecting. And if you care about collecting, if you appreciate the figures you have and you want Funko to keep making more, you shouldn't be doing anything that drives people away from collecting. Now, obviously, this video focuses on trading, but the same thing goes for people that are selling pop figures. If you're going to sell pop figures, make sure you actually sell those figures, and that you're true to what you say. Because again, if you're playing games and trying to get over on people, you're driving away collectors, which eventually is going to hurt this hobby. Also here, be honest about any damage to the figure or box, especially with figures that have been around for a long time. I think some damage is understandable, and Funko is not a perfect company. Sometimes they make mistakes, and those things may get overlooked. So yeah, I mean, if you notice anything, be honest about it, be upfront with the person about it. And then, I mean, there's some people that will still be willing to trade or to buy a figure just because they can't find it, and this is the only one they could find, so they don't mind if it has a little damage to it, so be honest in that way. Also here, this next thing is a lesson that I'm taking upon myself as well, something that I'm realizing that I need to follow. It says, don't take on more trades than you can keep up with. So I've definitely had some difficulty with that, and I just feel like when I have less trades, and especially when those trades are spaced out, it gives me more time to kind of put thought into the trade. And I'm that type of person. Sometimes I like to send a little something extra along with the figures, and I might send a letter and whatever it may be. But when I have to send out like 5 or 6 boxes at one time, then I feel like I'm just a factory worker, on an assembly line, just trying to hurry up and get everything together. So yeah, I'm definitely going to step back, like way back on trading, you know, in this year and the foreseeable future, just because I want to put more effort into the trades that I actually do. Also here, it says it's ideal to stick with people that you're familiar with. Now, obviously, you're not going to get everything that you want by just sticking with people that you know. So, I mean, eventually you probably will end up doing some trades with people via social media, especially with Facebook. But I will say, when it comes to Facebook and you're trading in Facebook groups, stick to groups that have some really strict rules and that the admins are very visible on there, and they definitely, you know, respond when people have issues. Yeah, you really want to be with a strict group. And for some people, rules rub them the wrong way, but remember, rules are set up to protect you. And I'm definitely going to talk some more about trading on Facebook in a little bit here. Now, moving on here with shipping, because of course shipping etiquette and tips, you know, this is a big part of trading. So first of all, the obvious thing, but I definitely got to put it out there: ship on time. You know, it's sad when some people, they will just take forever to ship to somebody, even though they got the figures they wanted. You know, they're good to go, but then they decide to take their sweet time sending figures out in turn. That is so rude. I mean, you might have an understanding with the person sometimes, especially if you really are friends. Maybe there is an understanding there of why it would take so long. But yeah, I think it's definitely important though to establish, you know, like a trading window basically of when you're going to ship, and be true to that. Now, obviously there might be some legitimate emergencies that come up, but if, you know, something comes up, it's your responsibility to inform that person of what is going on. As long as you're physically able, you know, you need to let that person know what is going on. Don't just leave them hanging. And if you know that there's anything that might possibly come up to interfere with the trade, then don't set a trade up in the first place. Now, the next thing here, this is big, and I know people definitely want me to say this, and I'm definitely gonna say it because I agree with it. Do not ship figures in a bubble mailer or a bag. Let the church say amen. I gotta say that one more time. Do not ship figures in a bubble mailer or a bag. That is ridiculous. You know that it's going to get damaged. I mean, so I don't know why anybody does that, but it still happens sometimes, you know, and that's just so disrespectful. You know that figure is going to get damaged, and if you can't afford to put a figure in a box, just don't trade at all then. I mean, I think sometimes it's people just being cheap though, you know, that's just ridiculous. So yeah, I don't even want to say too much about that. Let me keep it moving. But I think the ideal way now is to ship box within a box, especially since companies like Hot Topic are shipping figures out in smaller boxes. They're shipping boxes within a box. So reuse those smaller boxes, put them in larger boxes. Also, along with that, you know, you could put some bubble wrap in there, some styrofoam peanuts, you know, something to protect that figure. But it is a good idea to leave just a little bit of space in the box, just a little bit of give, so that if something bumps up against that box, or if somebody puts a heavy box on top of your box, you know, there's that little bit of space, that little bit of give, so that it doesn't automatically press up against the pop figure box and, you know, just ruin it. So yeah, as far as shipping, just put some thought into it and really look at videos and see how people ship. And you know, just especially if you're a new collector, just kind of look at what other people are doing and you'll get the hang of that. Also here, this is something that I've had an issue with on YouTube. It's not like a big issue, but those of you that watch my unboxings, you hear me say a lot of times, I'm not sure who this is from, and then I won't know until I maybe get into the box, and sometimes I'm not quite sure. But it really helps if you have a different name on social media, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or wherever. If the person knows you by that name, when you send them a package, make sure that that name is somewhere either on the box or inside of the box. Let them know who you are. You know, they might, you know, when they see the figure, that might ring a bell, but you know, especially for if you're sending something to a YouTuber that has a lot going on, it's very helpful to make sure that the name that they know you by is somewhere on or in the package. Also, I think this is kind of standard trading etiquette at this point. Once you have shipped out a figure, make sure that you hang on to the tracking information and share that with the other person. Let them get that tracking number. Now, even if the person says, don't worry about it, I don't really need that, you still hang on to it. I know me, like, I don't like to keep too many receipts around, because I can, you know, mix them up. That has happened once before, and it took me like a day or maybe like a day or so to find the right receipt But yeah, hang on to the receipt until the trade is actually wrapped up, and then then you could toss it, and that just protects what you sent. So you have that proof there that you sent it out, and if it gets hung up in shipping, then you can find out what's going on. So it's just a good idea. Hang on to that receipt from the post office or wherever you're shipping from. Also here, don't try to do retroactive trades. I don't know if that's an official term, but that's the way I look at it. So in other words, what I mean by that is don't send something to somebody and then try to pressure them to give you something in return. If there was no trade established, just don't do that. And I've had some people do that to me, with me being a YouTuber, and I don't kick up like a big fuss about it, but and I don't really feel like I've been pressured. Some people will say, well, if you could find this, I'd appreciate that. And that's okay, but at the same time, it's like not completely okay, because people that do that, I don't really know them well to begin with. So I feel like it puts me in an awkward position, and I think that would put anybody in an awkward position. So again, no retroactive trades. If a trade is not set up, I don't think it's fair to expect anything in return. Next up here, and I said I want to focus more on Facebook because I know a lot of trading is done on Facebook. So first of all here, if you're trading in a group, which is more than likely the way that you would trade on Facebook, respect the rules of the group. I don't care what group it is. We don't have to talk about individual groups. Just in general, if you accept to be, if you take that position in that group, respect whatever their rules are. And then when you're trading with someone new, I think it's very important to try to get a feel for their reputation. Look at their previous trades. You might want to scroll down that timeline and see if you could find any other trades that they had that are wrapped up. And then what some groups do that I think is a really good idea, some groups will have like a feedback thread where you can talk about how trades went. Some of them even have like a point system where individuals can earn points based on how well they did trades. I think that's a pretty good idea, but you're not always going to be able to do that. But if it's possible, like I said, try to get a feel for the person's reputation. Also, I think it's a good idea, as you're working out trade details with somebody, it's not a bad idea to get screen captures of what was said between the two of you. That way, for one thing, it kind of keeps you on track of when you need to send something out, and you make sure you have the person's address easily accessible, things like that. But then also, if something goes wrong, you have that evidence of what went down, and you can share that with an admin. And that brings me to the next point here. If you have a problem, take it to an admin, message an admin, and I do mean private message an admin, and let them take it from there. Don't try to just publicly out somebody for their poor etiquette, because I think in a lot of Facebook groups that is against the rules anyway, and then all it does is create a lot of drama. So let the admins handle it, if possible. And if the admins don't do what they need to, then leave the group. Pretty much that's what it comes down to. Also, this is definitely about etiquette here. Don't interfere with other people's trades. If you see two people working out a trade, don't jump in the middle with a different offer. I mean, I think that's just rude, especially when you're doing that publicly. Even on private messaging the person, that may be kind of questionable, but at least I think that's more respectful than starting some drama within a thread that everybody can see. I just think that's not a good look. So yeah, don't interfere with people's trades. And like, some people will even hop in the middle of the trades and criticize people for the trades that they're making. That's none of your business. Let people do what they're doing. I think it's not a good idea to get in the middle of trades, basically. And I don't feel like Facebook is inherently about drama. People make it about drama, so people that say they stay away from Facebook because it's too much drama, no, it's the people doing that, especially within your individual pages. You don't have to have people you don't get along with on your page, and I suggest you don't do that, but if anybody chooses to do that, they are a drama queen or a drama king. Sorry about me digressing there on Facebook, but I'm getting back to it here with the trading. So yeah, like I said already, if you don't like how things are handled in a Facebook group, leave that group, find one that maybe works better for you, or just find another way to trade. Next thing here, and I know logically this seems out of order, but I'm doing this for a reason. Next thing it says here, only list something for trade if you know that you really want to trade it. Because something that drives me absolutely crazy, and this is the reason why I really don't deal with too many Facebook groups, you get a lot of people that put something up for trade, but they don't give an in search of list, and you'll see that abbreviated as ISO sometimes. So yeah, if you're gonna do a trade, and this is something I even talk about, you know, on my here on YouTube, like when I do trades sometimes with people, I'm like, you gotta let me know what you're looking for. I hate playing the guessing game. I don't think anybody should make somebody play the guessing game. Let people know what you're looking for, and if they don't have it, then you don't need to waste each other's time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, don't have people guessing. And I feel like some people on Facebook will put figures up and then they're like, what you got, you know, whatever. It's just because they really want to show off what they have. It's not that they really want to trade anything, you know. So yeah, and I've seen many conversations that look like this. Now, this is a dramatic reenactment here, you know, so everything here is staged, of course, but I really want you to get a feel for what I'm talking about here. So you see here on the left-hand side, and like I said, this is just an example. Crota figures up for trade, open to any interesting offers. And I see that phrase quite a bit. So let's look at how this conversation could possibly go down between the sensible guy and Doofus McDork. What do you want for the chase? Open to anything interesting. What you got? I have the Flock Scooby-Doo set. Not interested. I have the blue chrome Batman. Already got him. I have a Tupac Shakur figure dipped in real gold and signed by his spirit. Got that too. What else you got? Can you just tell me what you're looking for? What else you got? Now, again, dramatic reenactment, but you get how that feels and what that's like. It is so annoying. Like, either you let people know what you're looking for so that you can trade, or do not waste people's time. Next up here, I do want to address trading with friends, because I think this is something important to address as well. So first of all here, I think, you know, when it comes to the collecting community, one of the big things that can help you out with your collection is to make some friends and have people to trade with. But I don't think that should be the only basis for your friendship. You know, either it's a real friendship or it's not, you know. So I mean, if it is just about trading, you know, I wouldn't really call that a friendship, you know. And I think even in trading with people, you know, you at least could maybe get to know them just a little bit or something. You know, don't just basically what I'm saying is don't use people. Don't keep people thinking that you're friends, but really all you care about is the trades. Next thing here, give your friends the same respect that you give strangers. Now, I know that sounds awkward, but some people, especially people that are older and, you know, mature, that you know what I'm talking about. The same things that I said previously, they apply to your friends too. Some people have this attitude that, you know, they may set up a trade with a friend that they have in another state, and because they're cool with that person, they're like, there's no rush to get this figure out to them, they'll be all right. That's the wrong attitude. Because that person is a friend, you should give them that same respect that you would give a stranger in a Facebook group somebody that would report you if you don't ship on time. Give them the same respect. Respect your friends. You know, take the trades serious. And then here's a general rule of friendship that I think applies to trading as well. It says here, and I'm going to read this word for word because I did put thought into this. It says, don't complain to others before you address an issue with a friend, and give them a chance to make it right. Now, I'm fortunate that most of the trades I've had, and I've done a lot of trades since I've been on YouTube, I would say like over 95% of them have gone well. There's only maybe four or five times that I could think of clearly where something went wrong. You know, so I feel like anybody who calls themselves a friend of mine, if something goes wrong in a trade, they better speak to me first so that I can rectify it, because I'm the type of person that will fix whatever goes wrong. You know, it's important to me. My reputation is important to me. So they better give me the chance to fix it before they go running their mouth, because once they run their mouth, we are no longer friends. I'm dead serious about that. That is so disrespectful. You can't call somebody a friend and then trash them and, you know, and not give them a chance to make things right. And I've had, I would say, maybe 2 fallings out. And it's a shame, because when it comes down to it, you know, pop figures, they're just vinyl, they're just plastic, they're not major, you know. So I'm not saying that, you know, the figure necessarily is about the friendship. It's really more about the actions, you know. So if you respect your friends, respect them within trades as well, you know. And that's the way I feel about it. And I'm concrete on that. So I do want to give a side note here, because I already know if I don't say this, some people are going to ask me, well, will you do a video about buying and selling Funko Pops? I really do feel like most of what I've said here already applies to buying and selling Pops as well. So the only thing I'm going to say in addition to that is that when you buy Pops, make sure that you use PayPal and use their goods or services option. If somebody says, and you don't know this person at all, and they tell you you need to use friends and family, yeah, that's a red flag. Do not trust that individual. To me, that's a big sign of a scammer. So yeah, protect your own money. Make sure that you use PayPal's good or services option. And if somebody says they don't have PayPal set up, especially somebody that's in a Facebook group where trading is a big focus, question that. I would say definitely question that, because something's not quite right there. So, and that's something in general that you need to think about. Use your instincts. Like, if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. You know, just be very careful about that. Oh, one thing I do want to say, because I forgot to address this earlier. When I was saying that you should exchange equal value, I do want to be clear here. I'm not saying that it's all about the dollar amount, because somebody might have a figure that they're trading that's really not very valuable to them. It may not be big money on Pop Price Guide, but for somebody else, it has certain meaning to it, and they really want that figure. So they might be willing to trade a figure that has a higher value for something that has a lower value. And if they express it and they say clearly that they're okay with that, they realize that the values aren't equal, but they still want that figure, then, you know, that's on them. You know, so I do understand that it's not always about the dollar amount. I definitely do understand that. So that is going to do it for this latest Soapbox video. And like I said, I definitely do talk to my patrons about this, you know, this particular series, because I really do appreciate that. Being able to, you know, go to that group and have that feedback quickly is a big help. I think it's a big help for the channel in general, not just financially, but, you know, just being able to talk to them has been a big help. So yeah, and speaking with, you know, members of my Patreon, I definitely have some other ideas that I want to work on very soon. So yeah, there won't be a big turnaround before you see another Soapbox video. In fact, I might do another one this weekend. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And now I really want to turn it over to you all. I really want to hear from you all down in the comments. You know, what are some other tips that you might have when it comes to trading, especially for new collectors? And then also, I want to hear some of your trading experiences, whether they're positive or negative. Definitely share what's going on with you in terms of trades. And if anybody has any questions, things that I haven't addressed already, you know, then I'm open to that as well. But I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you all again real soon.